Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday Lunch and Learn. I almost said Friday. Lunch and Learn, sponsored by the Do Space. My name is Julie. I'll be your facilitator today. Welcome, welcome. We are just getting started. So glad that you are with us. If you have any questions during the presentation or afterwards, feel free to either put a question in the chat. I do have that open over here on another monitor, or you can certainly email me at jddospace@gmail.com for any questions that you might have about Excel functions or the Microsoft Office suite in general, any of the lunch and learns that are offered through the Do Space. Okay. There we go. Okay, so today we're going to go through, I have 5 different worksheets that we are going to look at, and we're just going to look at some different ways to approach utilizing Microsoft Excel. Hopefully you will catch up on some little tips and tricks and some things that maybe you didn't know that we could do with Microsoft Excel. So in our first in my first example, what I have are just some quarterly sales. And in the quarterly sales, I have 4 different regions. Now you'll note that over in column F, I have the sum function, which is adding up the sums for the north, the south, the east, and the west. We're just going to kind of go through, and I'm going to show you a different approach. So we're going to use define names in formulas as opposed to a data array. So on this worksheet, I'm going to move from the home ribbon over to the formulas ribbon. And on the formulas ribbon, what we'll need to do is to select cell F4 and just type in, we're going to retype in equal sum and open parentheses. Let me escape out of that for a second. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. I mean, it's been one meeting after the other since 7 o'clock this morning. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stay on the formulas ribbon. And then we are going to come over here to where it says define names. And underneath define names, we are going to come up and we are going to just select define name. And we are going to have a new name, which the new name is going to be quarter 1. At this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to I'm going to go down and I'm going to click in refers to. And this says equal region exclamation point. And the reason it's picking that up from my worksheet name. And then we're going to go ahead and we are going to go to B4 and we are going to select from B4 to B7. And I'm just going to go ahead and what is going on? don't understand what is going on here. Syntax of the name isn't correct. There's an error in the formula you have entered. Oh, yeah, there is. Now I got it, Joe. So now if I go into my defined names, I'm not sure what it was being so uncooperative about, but if I go into my name manager, I have Q1, quarter one in there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move over to C4, and then I'm going to go back to define name again. This is going to be quarter two, and we are just going to go from C4 down to C7 and click on OK, and we added in quarter two. Then I'm going to go back up and we're going to go ahead and define the name again. This is quarter three. You can see that it is picking up on that automatically. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pull down and we will insert quarter three. Back to new name, define new name. Whoops, I didn't move over. Hang on, cancel. Move over here and define our new name. Quarter four, and we're just going to go ahead and highlight. Now, what I've done is I have named those quarters 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I go to my name manager, you can see that it has all of those in there. The next step that we want to take is we want to go ahead and insert. We want to go ahead and insert the the regions, the north, south, east, and west. So we are going to go ahead and do that next. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight from B4 over to E4. And then I'm just going to come up to define name again. And this time I'm just taking a little bit of a different approach. It has the name North, it's picking up on that. Equal region B4 colon E4. So because I highlighted that ahead of time, I don't need to go in and highlight the cells at this point. And then I'm just going to come down, I'm going to go ahead and do south, and I'm going to define the name. And I'm going to go in and do east and define the name. And we'll go in and we will do West and define the name. So now you'll note that when I go to my name box, if I click on the down arrow, it not only has the cell that I'm in, but it also has the east, the north, the south, the west, and quarters 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to delete the equal sums that are currently in here. And we're going to type in equal sum. And then I'm just going to start to type in north, and you'll note that along with my functions, I now have my name, my range, which is identified as a table. And all I have to do is hit the enter key. Now you can't fill this down, so I am going to have to do the equal sum again. And then I'll just start to type in south. And we can select that table. Oops, not sort by. Clicked on the wrong one. And hit the enter key. So I think that this is a very interesting approach, especially if you are working with a team of people. They may not understand the data range, but they're certainly going to understand the quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, and the regions of north, south, east, and west. So this may increase the understanding of your team or of your participants, of your students, by using this particular approach. And then I can come down and we can do the totals for quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 again. So I'm just going to say equal sum, open by parentheses, and we'll do the Q1 and enter. Now this is not formatted correctly, but we'll look at that here in just a second. Then I'm just going to go ahead and do my equal sum, and we want quarter 2 and enter, and likewise. So equal sum, and then we want quarter 3 and quarter 4. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and use my format painter to format these identical to what is in the rest of my worksheet. And we'll increase these. And there we have it. So rather than using the range, we went ahead and defined the name range. And we have in there our 8 different options. So again, when you're looking at your data and you have specific names, going into the formulas and to the name manager, that may assist you. When I go into my name manager, it is going to list all 8 of those. If you need to go in and maybe change the name of one, so if I go into edit, I can change this. I should be able to change this to Q1, although it didn't seem to like it earlier. Yeah, it does not. Oops. I'm just going to go ahead and click on cancel. But you can go ahead and you can change the name. You can edit the range. So if you do need to go in and manipulate that data, you certainly can at any time. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move over to employees. And on the employees, what we are looking at on the employees is we are going to be locating and using some specialized functions. So you can see, let me go ahead and zoom this in a little bit so it's easier for you to see. So we have the years of service or the hire date, and then we need to calculate the years of service. So I'm going to come down, and the first thing that I need to do is just to come up to B3, and I'm going to insert the function equal to day. So that will allow us to insert today's date. Now, it is pulling today's date off of the date on your computer. So if the date on your computer is wrong, then the date in your Excel worksheet is going to be wrong as well. And what this will do is, and this is just going to keep running, and it will, every time you open this, it will bring up the current date, it will recalculate everything, and it will update the years of service. So if you only open it every 6 or 12 months, you will probably see some additional people that have 20 years of service award. So now I'm going to come down to C10. And what I need to do is just to type in the equal sign. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to select cell B3. Now, because I'm going to fill this down, we are going to need to apply the absolute reference. So I'm just going to hit the F4 key on my keyboard, and we're going to subtract the current date from the higher date. Now, because I need to divide this by 365, I am going to have to put parentheses around it. So I'm just going to say divided by 365. And this way it will give me the number of years as opposed to the number of days in between February 21st, 2010 and April 8th, 2025. So you can see that our first employee, by the way, these are all fictitious names. Our first employee is 15.1 15.1 years of service. So let's just go ahead and do that again. I know I said we were going to fill it down, but I just want to run through that one more time. So we're going to say equal, and then B3, apply the absolute reference. Oops, I forgot my open parentheses. So we've got B3 minus B11 divided by 365 and enter. And this particular employee, Paulette, has 13.6 years of service. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to fill this down. You'll note that there are several employees that have over 20 years of service, but we don't want to manually count that. We want Excel to do the work for us. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up to cell B5, and we are going to use something called the count if. So I'm looking for the count if. And in the count if, we are simply going to tell Excel that we want it to analyze the data in C10 through C39. So rather than having to select all this, I'm going to hold down the Control Shift and the down arrow, and that will highlight the data automatically for me. I am then going to put in a comma. So equal count if, the first thing it wanted was the range. Now it wants the criteria. So my criteria is going to be that it is greater than or equal to 20, meaning 20 years of service, and close my parentheses. And when I hit the enter key, it tells me that there are 15 employees that have 20 plus years of service. Now, if I come down here, let's just test this. If I come down here and I change Claire's hire date, maybe to 05, it should automatically increase to 16, and it does. So it updated Claire's years of service to 20, and it automatically updated my years of 20 years of service to 16. Now, the next thing that they want us to look at is safety training criteria is they need it every 5 years. So what we're going to be looking at here, we're going to use another count if. We're going to use another count if. You know what? Part of my data is not here. This is not turning out to be my day. Okay, I'm going to show you one other thing about conditional formatting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight the years of service. I'm going to move back to the home ribbon and I'm going to go to conditional formatting. I'm going to tell it to highlight cells that are greater than 20, and I want those to be highlighted in dark green. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on OK. And everybody that has 20+ years of service is now highlighted in green. Again, if I come down here and I change Paulette's year of hire date to maybe 04, it turns the years of service to green and adds a 17th year on there. So that is using the equal today, the count if, and a little bit of conditional formatting. All right, moving over to the bonus. Moving over to the bonus. What we're looking at here, let me go ahead and make sure that we can see all of the data. What we're looking at here is we have a commission rate of 4%. We have a bonus rate of 1%. We have a category goal, which the categories are cameras, laptops, printers, and desktops, of 85,000. And that is for each one of those. Then we have 4 different sales representatives. We have their total sales. We have their goal. Now note that their goals, each one of the reps did not have the same goal. The commission has already been calculated for us. So the first thing that we need to do is go over and work in goal bonus. So in goal bonus, we are going to make sure that we're in J8 and we are there. We're going to use an if statement. So we're just going to say equal if, and then I'm going to take this in a little bit of a different direction. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up the function arguments for an if statement. So it has the logic test, it has the value if true, and it has the value if false. All right, so in the logic test, in this logic test, we want it to tell it is G8, and if you look at, or is column G, which is their total sales, is that greater than H8, so their goal bonus. Did they meet their goal bonus? And their bonus rate is 1%. So if if their total sales exceeds their goal, this is going to calculate the bonus at 1%. So my logic, if true, is going to be G is G8 greater than H8. Then, if it's true, we're going to move down. If it is true, we are going to have Excel put in a 0. And if it is false, oh, I'm sorry. Geez, get off to a bad foot and you just don't go back. So the value of false is going to be 0. The value, if true, is going to be G8, which in G8 is our total sales, times, which is just the little star, you already knew that, times the C4, which is the 1%, okay? So when I'm going to go ahead and hit my enter key, and we can see that Mullins total sales of 368,575 does exceed the 325,000. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to fill that down. And you can see that everybody except for Brooks, who actually had the highest expectation, did not receive the goal bonus. Now, if I go up here and I change this to a 2, it should double their bonuses, and it did. All right. The next thing we want to calculate is the category bonus. So I'm going to move over to K8, and we're just going to say equal, and then C4, and that needs to be an absolute reference because we are going to fill this down, times, oops, times, and we're going to use something called the sum if. So the sum if is going to look at a couple of our criteria for us. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to insert that function again. So our range is going to be from C8 to F8. So let's take a look and see what is in C8 through F8. So those are our category totals for the cameras, the laptops, the printers, and the desktops for Mullins. Then the criteria is going to be, are these greater than 85,000? When I click on OK, it is giving me the category bonus for each one of our salespeople, and I can just go ahead and fill that down. So again, let's just take a look at that with everything highlighted. It'll make it a little bit easier. Equal C4. So now we did the goal bonus. Now we're doing the category bonus. So what it's doing is it's looking at each one of these, and it is giving each one of the employees a 2%, because I changed it to 2%. 2% of their total sales if this exceeded 85,000. So you can see that Mullins received a bonus, a category bonus, on the cameras and the laptops. And then poor Barry down here didn't receive anything, but let's change this one. Let's just go ahead and change this to 85%, see what we, or 85,590. And you can see that it put in that bonus. Okay, so now we need a bonus count. So what we're looking for in the bonus count is we're just going to use a count if. So in the count if, we are going to be looking to see. So we're just going to say equal count if. I'm going to have to type in another letter here. There we go. Scroll down and we'll insert the count if. If C8 colon F8. So that's the criteria we're going to have it look at. And then we're going to put in a comma, and we're going to ask if that is greater than C5. So how many of these, so the bonus count, how many of, let me scroll this back over just a little bit. How many of Mullins category sales exceeded 85,000? So we just simply said, let me double click on this. We simply said equal count if we had it look at the criteria of C8 through F8 is greater than C5, then it would give us that count. And I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to fill that down. And you can, oh, I need to apply the absolute reference. That's why. So now I can fill it down. There we go. That looks a little bit better. So we have a bonus count of 2, 1, 3, and 1. And just at a glance, that does look correct. Although I changed Barry's, so let's change Barry's back. So he has a 0. He or she has a 0, I should say. All right. So then we're going to go in and we are going to calculate on one more thing. And that is going to be if they are in the winner's circle. So we're going to say equal if and we need to see two different things. Their goal bonus needs to be greater than 0, okay? And their bonus count needs to be greater than 1 for them to be in the winner's circle. So I'm just going to come over and we'll double click. And I'm just going to say equal if, and then I'm going to wrap an and in there. So we're going to utilize two different functions. So we need an if and we need both of those to be true in order for this to, for them to be in the winner circle. So we're going to say is J8 greater than 0, comma, so the J8 is greater than 0. That's logic test 1. Logic test 2 is going to be L8 is greater than 1. Right, close the parentheses, and then excuse me. The value, if true, is it's going to print winners. Whoops, must have my caps lock on. Winner circle, and the value, if false, is going to be sell more next. Oops. Sell more next year. Close my quote, close my parentheses, and you can see that it looks like, let me go ahead and just move this out a little bit. All right, so how many winners do we have? Ooh, only one. So the criteria, only who is this? Mullins? Only Mullins met the criteria, so the rest of them did not receive the honor of winner's circle. All right, project details. Let's look at some net work days. So what I have here is a start date project, end date project, and then 3 days for shutdown. These happen to be in 2021. You can change that date to anything you want to. But what we are going to be looking for here is the function equal and then net work days. So net work days. And I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to open up my function box again. So it wants, okay, what is the start date? Here's our start date, 7/19/21. What is our end date? 12/22/2021. And how many holidays do we have? So when you're looking at this, it's giving us digits because it's in the function arguments, it does not, it's looking at days, okay? It's counting the days, it's not looking at the dates. You can see that it gives us our answer right here, which is 110. If I click on OK, it's going to insert that and say the total work days for this project is 110. Now that was net work days, so that is a 5-day work week, all right? If we go in, and let me just go ahead and let's insert. We'll do a couple more seasonal shutdowns. We'll just have it go to the 29th and the 30th, or 28th and the 29th, excuse me. And then we need to expand this from B6 to B10. Now it should give us 100. Why did that not give us? Hang on, I think. Oops. Cancel. B6 colon B10. Huh. This shouldn't make any difference, but I'm going to just change. Oh, Wonder why it's not taking, oh, those must have been weekends. That's what it was. I didn't even think about that. So I must have hit a weekend when I did the 28th and 29th. There we go. Just my luck for today, right? So anyway, that is network days, which is pretty nice. Then we're just gonna move over to campus information. And on campus information, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to duplicate the campus information because there's two different ways I want to show you that you can do this. So let me just go ahead and duplicate that, and we will start on campus information. All right, so you can see what we have here. What we have here are the names of some people, and then we have a campus, building, and floor all together. All right, and to be honest, this is a big no-no. This is a lucky one that we can split these out using text functions. Because a lot of times when people put information all in one cell, it cannot be split out utilizing any feature in Microsoft Excel. The reason that we can split this one out is because it is consistent. We have C1, so that's going to be the campus number. Then you've got the building, which is either BA, BB, or BC. And we can split that out because it's an even number of characters. And then we have the floor, which is FL, and then 1, 2, or 3. So you can split that out utilizing built-in text functions in Excel if you would like to. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to move over here to the formulas ribbon. And on the formulas ribbon, I'm going to go to text. So within the text, what we are looking for is the text for left. So here is left. So equal left, and it's referring to the left-hand side of the cell. So the text is C2, and the number of the number of characters is 2. So the text that I want it to evaluate is in cell C2. And the number of characters that I want it to move to column D is 2. So when I click on OK, it's going to bring over just that C1, and I can go ahead and I can fill that down. Then we are going to move on, and we are going to use another text. But this time we're looking for mid, M-I-D. So when I highlight mid, it says, okay, what is the text? My text, again, is in C2. The start number is going to be number 3 because we have the C1, and then B is the third item over. Now, how many characters do we want? You can see that we've already talked about this, that the characters in the building are 2. So then when we go in and click on OK, it's going to pull out that BA. Then I'm going to move over to floor, and in floor, we're just going to go ahead and go back to our text. And this time we're looking for the right So we want it to look for information on the right. So the text that we're looking for is in cell C2. The number of characters that we want it to pull are 4 because it has the F, the L, and then the floor number with 2 digits. So we're going to tell it that we want it to pull 4 digits from the right. Click on OK, and it gives us FL01. Now, I can go ahead and I can just fill that down all at once. And it fills in. Now, the reason that I copied this is because I do want to show you that there is a little bit of an easier way, in my opinion, an easier way to do this. So I'm going to highlight from C1 or C2 down to C9, excuse me. And then I'm going to move over here to the data ribbon. And on the data ribbon, I'm going to use something in the data tools called text to columns. In the text to columns, you can split out information in 2 different ways, in the delimited or in the fixed width. In this case, we have a fixed width. So I'm going to select the fixed width, and I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And then what it wants me to do is to put in breaks. So I'm very carefully, and you can move these if you don't click in the right spot. I'm going to click in between the 1 and the B, and I'm going to click in between the building and the floor. All right. Then I can just actually I can go ahead and click on next. Where do we want this to go to? We can choose for this to start in any destination that we would like. So we can go ahead and just say D2 and click on finish, and it splits it out all for us. Now, of course, we're going to have to retype campus, building, and floor, but to me, that's just a lot easier than using the text functions, and that is 100% up to you. Whatever you prefer is what you should use. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the first name and the last name, and we are going to put them into one cell. So we're going to move first name, last name, and we are going to put their full name in one cell. So there is a function called concatenate. So I'm just going to go to concatenate, and in this, I mean, I can bring up the function. It just kind of depends on what people think is a little bit easier. So text 1 is going to be in A2, and text 2 is going to be in B2. We do not have a text 3. If you had a middle name, you might have a text 3, but we don't. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on OK. Now, the issue with doing it that way is that it did not put a space in between the first and the last name. So we are going to, if we want a space in between, we are going to have to edit this a little bit. And I could put a space in by putting in a quote and a space and a quote and a comma. Okay. So I had to put in a quote so that it would accept that space. If I would have just put a space in between the 2 commas, it would not have accepted it. So when I click on enter, you can see that it puts a space in between the first and the last name. Okay. Oh. Let's see. All right. Well, I know we have a couple of minutes left. I did want to just a quick reminder that they are now taking applications for the next Accelerate. So I'm just going to pull this over. I'm going to go to the DoSpace's website. And if you click on Accelerate, you can see that the dates start May 6th. It runs through June 10th. If you're not familiar with Accelerate, Accelerate is 6 weeks or 12 hours total, 12 hours of training on Microsoft Excel. You are committed to Tuesdays for 6 weeks. The sessions are all virtual. You can go to the DoSpace and use their equipment and reserve a room to complete Accelerate with. So if you have a friend or a relative or somebody that maybe you think that this would be fun to go in and learn a little bit more about Excel. We start with the very basics and work our way up to pivot tables and maybe even a little bit beyond, depending on how many people in the entry-level knowledge. But we will definitely get to pivot tables. The applications are due by Sunday, April 27th. So if this is something that you're interested in, or you know somebody, have them go to dospace.org and click on Accelerate. Here is the application. If you have been involved in Accelerate in the past, you are more than welcome to apply again. The application process is not lengthy. But then they will be going through the applications and letting you know who was accepted into the Accelerate program. The only thing that you really need to state is that you either have yourself or access to Microsoft Office. I think it's 2016 or newer. Lisa, I wish I could answer you. I was just informed that there may not be another session this fall, simply because of them preparing to move back into to 72nd and Dodge, if I understood correctly. So I can't answer 100%, but if you do apply again, shoot me an email and let me know. Okay. So yes. So yeah, it is all virtual for 2 hours. Yep, you are very welcome. For 2 hours, we do take a short break so that you can get up and stretch and grab a cup of coffee or a bottle of water, glass of pop, whatever the case may be. But just letting you know a little bit about Accelerate. Here are some frequently asked questions. Again, if you do have questions, feel free to email me as I am the facilitator for Accelerate at jddospace@gmail.com, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Have a fabulous afternoon, a great week, and I'll look forward to seeing you again next Friday. Not this Friday, but next Friday as we continue our Excel series. Thanks so much. Take care.